friends, this is Stitching with Charlie. I'm Charlie, my pronouns are she and her, and we're back for another Flosstube where we talk all about adventures in cross stitch. So I haven't filmed a normal Flosstube for a while. We did a WIP parade and we did a finish parade. So if you haven't seen those Flosstube extras, do have a look at them if you want to see every single thing I have stitched between the start of my stitching journey in January and now. It's all there in 2 videos for you. So today I am not going to show you every single thing I have stitched since my last regular Flosstube, because you just end up with WIP parade number 2. The other day I was feeling a bit low motivation to stitch, and so I decided to do 100 stitches on one project and then switch, and I did 9 projects in 2 days, which was amazing. And so if I show you everything I've been stitching on in the last couple of weeks, yeah, it's just going to be the WIP parade again. So today we're just going to do finishes and starts, which it's like all the good stuff, right? Finishing and all the finishes and all the starts. I have 7 finishes and I think 3 starts. So I have been a busy bee and there's lots to show you, even if we don't talk about all the ongoing WIPs. And then next time I'll show you the progress on my kind of ongoing projects. Before we dive into the stitching, what's on the community notice board this week? Firstly, if you participated in my challenge of Just Finish It June and July, where I invited you to kind of get anything that was languishing in your WIP pile, kind of a bit of oomph to get it finished, I will be doing a community finish parade, a video on the channel. If you'd like to be included, please do email me or send me a note on Instagram. The hashtag, unfortunately, when I click on it, looks like this, and it's very difficult to see all of the things. Unfortunately, I think probably the hashtag is so small that Instagram is pulling in other things it thinks is relevant that is absolutely not relevant. Some of the stitching you see in this screenshot is actually not tagged Just Finished June and July. So I really apologize. I will try and find as many of them as possible. If you are missing from the community finish parade because you did use the hashtag and I can't find it because Instagram hashtags are broken, I'm really sorry, and you can always message me and I can include it in a future video. But yes, if you'd like to be included, do pop me an email if you haven't already, or send me a message on Instagram in the next couple of days, and the next video coming up will be celebrating all of your wonderful finishes, and I'm really looking forward to doing that. The second thing is there is a fox stitch along coming up in September, hosted by the lovely Luminea of Forest Crone Crafts on Instagram and Steph at Wild Fox Stitchery. Both of them are linked down below, and they are doing the hashtag Fall for Foxes Sal. So it's a stitch along for all things fox related. I am so excited. I think of all the saved patterns I have, the majority of them are foxes or birds. And I haven't actually stitched a fox yet, so this will be a great motivation to do so. I think it runs for the whole of September, but I know some people have already started early. So if you have a fox stitch in your projects that you would like to work on, or something you'd like to start, I'm sure they'd be more than happy for you to join the stitch along. Okay, let's dive in to all of the finishes. There's a big pile here. They are quite small, a lot of them, but it's really nice to have got some things finished. Some of them were in time for Just Finish It June and July, and some of them needed a little bit more time afterwards because the motivation wasn't quite there, but they're done and I'm really excited. So the first one is my round robin piece. So this is sort of a finish for me, but isn't actually a finished piece yet. So I'm taking part in Jason Cross Stitches has been very kindly running an amazing round robin where people got together and then he put everyone in groups of 4 and we have all picked patterns, and then within our groups of 4 we're working on a piece and sending it around the group. So in the end you will end up with a piece that has been stitched on by 4 different people, which is lovely. In my group, we have lovely ladies from the UK, so Trudy, Georgia and Zoe. Zoe's on Flosstube as Coco Creates. She's linked down below if you want to check her out. And the pattern that I've chosen is Boomerang Stitches Bird Herd. So we're keeping our pieces fairly small. We're sort of doing about 1,000 stitches in each rotation so that it's not too overwhelming. And I chose these funky little birds. We're not doing the words, so we're just doing that top branch and then the birds along the top. And it breaks up quite nicely into 4 because each person can stitch their own bird. I am not doing all the called for floss. I went to my local craft shop. I wanted to get all of the colours from my local shop rather than ordering online. And I pulled what they had in the called for, and then any that they didn't have, I kind of made a substitution. And my little part is now finished. So there's my funky little bird. One of the substitutions of colour I made was the wing. It's sort of more of like a golden colour in the pattern. And I've gone for like this kind of funky green, which I quite like. I've not really stitched with coral colours before. So the main body of the bird and the breast, that is the called for colours. And it's really lovely. And yeah, I just think coral is an unusual colour I probably wouldn't pick for myself, but it works so well here. It's like really, really effective. This is a free pattern from Boomerang Stitches. So if you go to their Instagram and then click on the link tree, you can get it there. It's an incredibly generous free pattern, so it's really cool. I am stitching this on a hand-dyed Ada. So my first foray into hand-dyed fabrics. I think when I started, I was like, I'm okay with white, and now I've sort of started dipping my toe in, and it's addictive, right? Everything you learn about cross stitching, and I've learned everything from Flosstubes, so thank you all. Everything you learn, you sort of think, maybe I won't need to do all of that, and then you start doing it and you're like, I'm addicted, I want to do all the things. So watch me, next it will be fancy flossers. Actually, speaking of which, there are fancy flossers coming up later, so yeah, I'm gonna get addicted to all the really expensive things. So this is an 18 count Ada, hand dyed by Megan at Coffee Craft Fabrics, and she's a dyer in the UK. She doesn't name her fabrics, she just dyes them up, takes photos of them and sells them kind of as the lots. So, but I really like this. It's kind of like a mottled blue, kind of a subtle colour. So that's lovely. I did also buy some other fabrics at the same time. What is it that people say? Things can't travel alone, they'd be lonely. So here's a little close-up of the cute little bird. And then this will be, I think mine's going to Trudy first, and then I'll get someone else's. And then it will do the rounds over the next year or so. And then at some point I'll have a finished piece back, and I will have 4 little cheeky birds, and they will have been stitched by 4 different people. And I think it's just a really lovely idea. Okay, the next one is a Max Pigeon piece. So this is Boreal Bounty. It's from the book Cross Stitch in the Forest. I get those confused. I'm doing the 2 books I have are Cross Stitch in the Forest and Cross Stitch for the Earth by Emma Congdon, and I sometimes I'm like, my brain has to do a little pause to think which one is it that I'm talking about. I've shown you the what it's supposed to look like because I've done a colour conversion for this. I started this with some friends, Karen, the Stitching Owl, and Mary Stitching Corner, a couple of other people as well that were stitching it. I think most people have done a kind of traditional colourway, so if you'd like to check out what it's supposed to look like, you can go and have a look at theirs. This is where I was up to last time, and what happened with this was I was lagging behind my friends. Everybody else had finished, and I was slow, even though it was a small piece. But also a couple of weeks back, I got a little bit dejected about the colour palette I'd chosen, and I felt like, oh, I don't like it anymore. What have I done? I should have just done the called for colours. And then so I thought, do you know what? You just need to get it finished. Sometimes there's a piece where you know, halfway through, and we know with cross stitch, you just have to have the faith, and it doesn't look great until it's finished. And so you just have to kind of keep going. So I sort of made it my priority piece for a bit, and here it is. It's finished. So it's stitched in gradations of grey and then white and then a very subtle, very light blue for some of the bit in the sky and then down here. The reason I did this is I wanted to use what I had in stash. I didn't want to have to buy, I didn't have basically any of the called for colours, and I wanted to do it from stash without having to do another order or buy more. And I found this piece of grey even weave. So this is a 28 count even weave. And I found it in my craft shop as an offcut. And it's a shame that I don't know what it is because it's so soft. It's such a pleasure to stitch on. It's absolutely lovely. I wish I knew what brand it was so I could buy more. And I thought, well, maybe I'll make that bit at the top, like kind of like a moon scene. It's not very realistic because that moon is massive, much bigger than the moon normally is. But I think it came out okay, and I really love it. I think it's subtle, and the colours are lovely, and it's just, you know, it's unusual. And one of the nice things about doing a colour conversion is that it's completely unique. No one else in the world will have one that looks exactly like this. And that's a really fun thing to do. So obviously I changed the colours. The other change I made is this central part here. There is supposed to be like another colour that comes down behind it. And because I was using all these greys that are really quite close to each other in colour, I decided not to do that because I thought that the trees would probably not stand out as much. So I did choose to kind of leave some of that off. But yeah, I'm really happy with the way it turned out. I think it's really lovely. And Max Pigeon designs are just, the geometricness in them is just lovely. And it's one of those ones that looks great from afar, but actually, you know, when you start looking at all the detailed work in it, and the subtle details, it's very clever and that it looks good both afar and close up. So thank you, Max Pigeon, amazing designer. I will be stitching many more. The next one to do from the book, I think I may change my mind, but I think one of my fox pieces for the fox style will be the one from Max Pigeon. So I know that's a really popular design from the book, and it's just adorable, the fox and the butterflies. It's very lovely. So again, I don't have the called for, so maybe I'll do a colour conversion with what I've got, or maybe I'll do an order and get the actual colours, to be confirmed. If you want the colours that I used for info on that piece that I've just finished, it's on my Instagram, just for my own records as well. And I didn't do a straight conversion of one symbol is one new colour. I did change, you know, as I went through the pattern, I was sort of picking the greys that I thought would work best next. The next finished is one that I did finish for just finished June and July, and I'm really glad that I did. This is a little piece that has been languishing in my WIP pile. I had started it, it's just a little alphabet with some flowers. I had started it and intended for it to go to a relative for Easter. My goodness, it's awesome. August. That did not happen, did it? But I'm going to put it on a little card and get it in the post to one of my relatives, which I'm sure will be appreciated. And if you can't guess, her name begins with P. So I'm glad to have got that finished. This is from an alphabet called Heralds of Spring, and it's from one of the magazines. It'll be linked down below if you want to know what specific issue and magazine it's from. But glad to get that one finished. It's stitched, I think, on a 28 count white even weave, again offcut that I got from my craft shop, and I think it came out well. I did change the colours because I didn't have what was called for, and I added fractional stitches in because we know that I'm obsessed with doing that, and I did go a little bit rogue on the back stitching as well and sort of made it a bit my own. But it's cute, it's finished, and I think I am moving on. There's no trajectory on cross stitch. It's not that you have to follow a certain path, but I'm certainly less motivated to want to stitch small things like cards now that I have some really big projects that are very exciting. So okay, the next finish, this is the one that I had hoped to finish by the end of July, and I'm going to be honest, it didn't make it. I had the back stitching still to do on this, and I just couldn't be bothered. I quite like back stitching, and I don't know what it was about this one. I think it was more that I felt like, You know, when you feel like, oh, I don't want to ruin it and I don't quite know what to do with the back stitching. I had done this one on the end very quickly. I did the back stitching after I finished the cross stitch, and I just loved it. I thought the back stitching in that first square worked really well and it was really good. And then I felt a bit like unconfident with the other squares to know what to do. I have changed the back stitching. So the back stitching, I sort of took the pattern as inspiration, and then didn't do it in the same colors. And I chose mostly black to do the back stitching with a little bit of brown. The pattern has white and black, and I chose to do mostly it in black. I think the back stitching in the first square, this one on the end here, I think it's still my favorite. I think that is still the sort of nicest one. But I am happy I've got it finished. And you know, sometimes you just love a project at the beginning and then you look at it too long and then it sits for a while and you get demotivated. And then you need to like put it down and come back to it. I think I'm in that stage where I need to put it away now that it's finished, and then in a couple of months I need to look at it again and be like, oh, it is lovely, isn't it beautiful, lovely colours, and you know. I also didn't have an idea of what I wanted to do with this one. It was my sort of happy just because stitch, and I started it because I thought the colours were fun, and I thought the little townscapes were lovely. So this is a project called Happy Homes by designer Poppy Benner, and it's from one of the magazine card editions. So they're designed to be little squares that go on individual cards. And I picked 4 out of the 7 that I liked, and I put them in a kind of little townscape. And I tried to be mindful about where I placed them. So I like that we've got green grass in 1 and 3, and it goes up in one direction and then down in another direction. And then I like that we've got the same tone of the blue sky in 2 and 4. So I think it works really well. I'm happy with how I chose to do it. The colours are mostly called for with a few little changes. I did also add in fractional stitches, which I don't know why, because this is 22 count, 1/1 on 22 count. Why that needs fractional stitches, it doesn't, Charlie. Stop making a rod for your own back. But you know, I really wanted to make it like a teeny tiny and very neat. So I just am not a big fan of, for me personally, when the back stitch goes over a colour. I like the back stitch to be kind of on the border between the colours. So if I have to add a fractional stitch in, I will happily do that. Yeah, so this is stitched on a 22 count piece of white. I said this in my WIP parade. The jury is out whether it's Ada or Hardanger. The money seems to be, people seem to think it's Hardanger because 22 count Ada is hard to get. Got it as an offcut from my craft shop. It was just marked as 22 count. So it doesn't really matter. It's pretty teeny tiny. It's certainly not an even weave. It's certainly got those squares. So whether it's an Ada or a Hardanger, I don't know. So the little scape, we've got like a seaside one and like a town with little tiny balcony. I think that's really beautiful. And then the other one is like boats. So it's sort of maybe a Venice inspired type scene. Yeah, so very glad that this is finished. It did take a bit of oomph to get that back stitching done, but I'm very happy with it now. And this one seems to be a fan favourite on the channel. Every time I show it, people say how lovely it is. So yeah, I'd encourage you to do a project that is a just because project, just because it makes you happy. So yes, I enjoy that one very much. Okay, the next one is inspired by lovely comments that I've had on the channel. So if you haven't seen me before, I've made a million, what feels like a million at this point. It's not, I think I'm about 15, 16, something like that. Made a lot of fridge magnets. And if you haven't seen, you can go and watch my finished parade. I show you all of them. Making little cute design finished magnets, and they sit on my radiator to kind of jazz it up. And people very early on said, oh, it's amazing, they'd be great needle minders. And I must admit, at the time when I first got those comments, I didn't know what a needle minder was, let alone that I needed one. And so I then, I asked for a needle minder for my birthday, which was back in May. So I have a couple of, kind of plastic needle minders. And once I had that and realised, yes, they're a godsend, everybody needs one. Before that I was using a jam jar, and you don't need a needle minder, but they are really handy. And I just have one needle minder that is my favourite. Came in a set of 2, so I do have 2, but I have 1, and I move it from project to project, and it sits on my stand. I don't have 1 for every project, and I don't plan on collecting lots of needle minders, but it came back to me that people had said, oh, maybe you can turn your magnets into needle minders. Now, I had thought, well, it's not going to work with the magnets that I already have on the back of the fridge magnets. I have the big craft magnets. They're really not very strong at all. Like, so for some of the big magnets, I actually put 2 on so that they kind of are quite secure, but they're certainly not strong enough to hold a needle through fabric and things like that. But I bought some little round, oh, I'm like, where's the camera gone? You're on the wrong side, Charlie. I bought some little small magnets. Now, these are not as strong as a lot of magnets that you will get on needle minders. I like mine on a slightly weaker side because I have got one that is just so strong. I think it can damage the fabric, but I think these are not quite as strong. But I was experimenting, and you don't quite know until you've done a bit, do you? But they work well. But I made a couple of cute little needle minders. So here's my pair of foxy friends. A little bit early for the fox stitch along, but I made these from the Flossy Fox Shop. Is that the right? I think that's the right. Flossy Fox Shop pattern. It's a little fox that is from a bigger design, and the design was in one of the cross stitching magazines last year. But actually, I saw on Instagram this morning that it's now released on Etsy as an individual pattern for sale if you haven't got access to the cross stitching magazines. And yeah, I did one with purple ears, which is as the pattern called for. I did simplify the pattern a lot. I was surprised when I actually started looking at the pattern how many colours are in the Flossy Fox Shop patterns, and it's lovely to obviously get that depth, but I sort of simplified it and chose slightly less colours for like the fox's body and only 2 shades of purple and things like that. So I did one with the called for with like little purple ears, not the called for actual threads. I just pulled from stash with what looked good, and then I flipped the pattern and did a little pink one, and the purple one has gone off to a lovely stitchy friend, and I kept the pink one for myself. So I only have the pink one to actually show you in person, but there he is. Oh, he's so cute, and it's very, very, very cute, and a very cute friend to have on my stitching. On the back, I just used some strong glue, which I don't think was quite the right glue. It was very liquid, and my magnet has fallen off once and had to be re-stuck on. So I'm perfecting the art of needle minders. We're not quite there yet, but they're good fun. And then second magnet obviously goes behind the fabric, and it is strong enough to hold a couple of needles, no problem. So this is my new friend that sits on some of my work sometimes and keeps me company when I'm stitching. And this fox has a fox friend that lives with another stitchy friend, and I thought that was nice. The last finish is the last finish that is not in the past finished, which we'll get to in a second, is a Halloween tree, which is from the Just Cross Stitch magazine 2021 Halloween edition, and here's my little finish of it. Now, if you've seen my finished parade, you have seen this finished, because I finished this just before the finished parade, but I haven't shown it in a regular floss tube yet, so I'll quickly show it here. This is 1/1 on a 32 count linen, teeny tiny, and it's also got some back stitch in there. I just used B5200 for the white and 310 for the black, so just 2 colours. The called for is actually has glow in the dark, but I chose not to do the glow in the dark on such a small fabric, and I didn't have any, so again I was stitching from stash for this one. So it's come out really well. I'm really happy with it. Oh, it's so adorable, and it's so small. And I found a piece of embossed felt the other day of like dark navy that I'm going to use to maybe finish it maybe into a little pillow. You'll know that finishing is not the strong suit on this channel, unless it's a magnet. I'm going to just cut it out and stick a magnet on the back, done. My to be fully finished pile is getting bigger and bigger, as is everyone's, right? We'll have a box of, let's not call it a box of shame, let's call it a box of lovely things. But I would like to gift this to someone before Halloween, so there will be motivation to try and get it finished. So hopefully you'll see it again soon in some sort of format that can be a Halloween decoration. So, and my last finish, we have to do a throwback to Past Charlie. Past Charlie here. Here is my artist trading card for Laura at Stitching by the Shores artist trading card swap. She does these a couple of times a year. And the theme for this year is the elements. This round is air and water, and next round will be earth and fire. So I thought everyone would be doing birds and water birds and maybe water animals. And I came across this pattern and it made me laugh. So please excuse me while I air dry my wet washing. I went for a piece of wet washing on the clothing line. It's from one of the most recent magazines. I'll put it in the description down below what it is, and then it's finished on a small piece of card, and then I found these tiny little butterflies at my local craft shop. I'm very lucky my local craft shop have they sell things individually, so I just bought 3 individual little butterflies. Saves you from having a whole packet of something, and stitch them on there just to give it a little bit of something extra. On the back I've just written who I am and what the date is and things like that, and then this has gone in the post to Laura. So I'd been sitting on that one for a little while. I didn't want to show you before I'd finished because I thought it was nice to have a surprise that when Laura does her video of everyone kind of revealing their that everyone's sort of revealing what they've stitched. So if you'd like to watch the show and tell, Laura's video is up now, and there are some beautiful designs in there. People have done an amazing job, and it's so creative and lovely. So it's been such a lovely thing to be a part of, and keep an eye on Laura's channel because there will be the news about what's coming up next for the fall exchange for the autumn. I watch so much Flosstube from people in America that I'm like, floss, fall. Obviously we call it thread and autumn. But yes, I'm picking up all the Americanisms. I'm going to start saying like trash can and sidewalk. That's the worst American accent. I'm going to stop before I get myself in trouble. Okay, new starts. So 3 new starts. But do you know what? 7 finishes and 3 new starts. Maybe the WIP count is coming down rather than up. It actually is. I had 16 in my WIP count in my WIP parade, and I'm down a few. That means you can start new things, right? That's how it works. Like you finish stuff, you can start loads more. Finish 1, start 2. So the first one is I have decided to do a long dog. So I'm in for a penny, in for a pound. Don't do anything by halves. Let's do a long dog. Haven't actually seen many people stitching this one. It's called Before I Sleep, and it is a winter themed pattern. There is also an alternative area to the pattern that you get which says Happy Christmas. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to kind of do the original design. You may remember, if you've been following me for a long time, there was an early episode, I don't know, back in March or April time, where I showed you one of my socks, and I said, bear with me, I haven't gone mad, but I've got a pair of socks that have like little reindeer on and little embroidered animals. It's not embroidery, but you know what I mean, in the pattern. And I said, this is what I'm looking for in terms of I'd like to do a monochromatic pattern, but I would like it to be I would like to do sort of little animals. And I hadn't quite found a pattern that really spoke to me. Anyway, I was on the Long Dog website looking, actually. I thought I was going to take the plunge and do fish and chips. So there's some beautiful finishes of fish and chips. And I thought, I really like that. Maybe I'll do that one. And when I was on there almost buying fish and chips, in their other stuff category, which is my favourite category of long dogs. I think I like the more kind of fun and unusual ones. They had this pattern, and I thought, oh, that's lovely. I'm going to do that. So where I'm up to here, oh, there's a thread hanging off it. There's a thread hanging off it because I think I put 100 stitches into it when I was doing that WIP frenzy of, I think that's what they call it in, there's a Facebook group called WIP Warriors. which is a closed Facebook group and they reopen in November. I haven't been stitching since last November, so I'm not in the Facebook group, but I hear people talk about it, and in November I shall be joining. But I think they do a challenge over a weekend every now and again where they, you stitch a small number of stitches on lots of different projects. So I absolutely love this. It is such a beautiful pattern and it's turning out just absolutely stunning. The detail is just lovely, but again it's that monochromatic, so it's a mixture of full cross and then a little bit of backstitch, and I'm doing the backstitch as I go along because it's all in the same colour. My favourite bit so far is there's like a wacky little millipede or a centipede there, and then there's also a crow wearing a crown, and I just think both of those are so fun and lovely. So this is a 46 count hand dyed by Megan at Coffee Craft Fabrics again. Am I enjoying stitching on a darker piece of 46 count? I'm going to be honest, no. And it's not so much that I can't see the threads. Like, my eyesight's pretty good. I'm very lucky in that I don't have to wear glasses, and normally I can see it. But the holes are just not very big. So it, there's a really big difference between 46 count and say like the 32 count. So even here you can see, right, this is the 32 count piece of linen, and you can like see the light shining through it. So when you go to stitch it, it's easy to find the hole, because, if you put, like people say, put a white piece of paper or something light on your lap, and you can, see the holes. Whereas this one, the light doesn't really shine through it. The weave is just a lot denser and the holes are a lot smaller. So it's not so much how small the holes are, but the fact that the holes are very tight together and that you have to sort of wiggle your needle through the fabric. So it's definitely a daytime stitch. I probably need a better light if there's stuff I can only stitch on because I haven't got good enough lighting, but I'm already compiling a Christmas present list. Things I need for stitching. So maybe we'll get a better light around Christmas, and that might make it easier. So I think progress will be slow on this one. It's about 31,000 stitches plus about 1,000 back stitches. And I'm counting, well, the way I'm counting it is I'm counting the full cross but not counting the back stitch, but I am doing the back stitch as I go along. So that tree alone is about 1,500 stitches, and then I don't know what I'm up to, maybe about 1,800, something like that. So I've made a really good start, a good chunky start, but yeah, there's a long way to go. It will be around for a long time. I also am giving myself the option. So I do love this fabric, but it is hard to stitch on, and maybe 46 count was a mistake, particularly for such a big project. So what I'm doing is giving myself the out that because it's lots of different motifs in a kind of, that goes all the way down, I'm sure what I can do if I get fed up with it at some point is just find a place to finish it and then fill in the holes with different motifs, and then we can just do a smaller abridged version of it. I could even just do that tree and then the bits either side of it and then call it a day. So that's kind of the nice thing about this pattern. You could do just a portion of it if you wanted to. But I really love it, the pattern, and but yeah, you'll see this one maybe not regularly, but you'll see it for a long time to come. And it is Christmas themed, but I don't think it's so strongly Christmas themed that that you couldn't have it out all year round. There are sort of snowflakes, and a lot of the animals are not specifically Christmas. There's like a butterfly on there, and obviously where I'm from, you wouldn't get butterflies not out of spring and summer. So, I think it is adaptable enough that you could have it out all year round. I'm glad we didn't manage. I'm glad I decided today to just do starts and finishes, because we're like 34 minutes and we've got loads more to go. Okay, I hope you're all happy for a long one today. Oh, that bit, half an hour in, Charlie always has to move. Oh dear. My next star, and this hasn't changed since my whip rate, so if you've seen it there, this is You Are Loved by Samantha Lane Textiles, and it is a little freebie, so you can have it for free. Again, the generosity of designers, Thank you so much, it's so lovely. And this is where I've got up to. So I have just done that first row in the trans flag colours, and then I'm actually going to make the pattern longer. So I'm going to do 3 little rows of of the flowers in different LGBTQ plus colour flag colours. And I'm going to add different words on as well. So I think it will probably say, I have yet to decide, but I think it will probably say, you are loved, you are seen, and you are valid. So that's my little pride stitch at the moment. I really want to do more of Samantha's patterns. They're really lovely. This cat pattern, I can't stop thinking about it. It's so great. I'm sorry I can't go, I'm an indoor cat. Just love it so much. And Samantha has a really lovely pattern, so if you haven't checked her out, then I'll put the link in the Instagram below, and do have a look, because churning out patterns at the moment, like a pattern every week. I love it. And so many cute cats. They're the best. Okay, my last new start is it's a sampler, an alphabet sampler. Don't die of shock. Am I going to become an alphabet sampler girly? Maybe. I'm really enjoying it. I'm really loving it. And there's something really therapeutic about stitching letters. So you might lose me to the historical sampler side, because I'm really enjoying it. This is Hilda Dakin, and it is charted by the lovely Vashti, who is on Instagram as the Cute Olive and on Flosstube. This was a historical reproduction of an English sampler that she bought, and she's charted it. And it comes in 2 options. So you can do it the way that the original sampler is done, or you can do it in a kind of more modern styling. So I've decided to do mine as the recharting in the more modern, so it's going to be kind of central. And I am also making it my own, and there are some additional changes I'm going to make. So one that I've already made is that bottom line underneath the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 0. I've moved it upwards. There was a big gap between that and the bottom, and because the 9 is so funky, look at how funky that 9 is. So I moved it up and then just made a little space with the 9. So I'm sort of adapting it as I go. I will say, if you haven't stitched a lot of letters and numbers are no joke. I didn't expect it to be easy, but I did think I know how to like spell letters and numbers. That's 6. I had to do it about 6 times. I kept going wrong. So I don't know what it is, but yeah, I'm finding this quite difficult. There's been a lot of frogging, and a lot of, the frogs come to stay a lot, which has surprised me. So those of you that do a lot of historical samplers, you have my admiration. They are not the easiest thing to stitch. But I am so enjoying it. There is at the top there'll be the capital letters, and then there's a border all the way around, and then there's a space at the bottom for if you want to put your own name in. And I'm going to put my name, and I'm going to put my age, because I think it's funny. Obviously the historical, most of these were done by young women and girls. I just think it's funny to say that I've stitched my first sampler at age 33, or when I finish it, maybe I'll have another birthday, but no, I'm going to try and keep the motivation of this one, and it will say my name, aged 33, because I think it's fun. Anyway, if anyone is interested in trying a small sampler, this is perfect. This is such a good option for kind of trying a small one. It won't take you too long, and whether and seeing whether you like it. I am enjoying it more than I thought I might. There's something really therapeutic about stitching the letters. As someone said to me, it's like you get a mini finish every letter you finish, so it's like a whole thing of finishes. So yeah, I'm really enjoying it. What is it stitched on? So this is stitched on a 40 count Zweigart linen, and I have some lovely Stitchy Kindness to share with you in a minute. This piece of linen was sent to me by a lovely follower, Jenny. So Jenny, thank you so much for your lovely package. And this piece is just the perfect size. It was the perfect size for this little sampler, and so it's being stitched on that. And what am I stitching it in? I'm stitching it in Roxy Floss Co. in the colour Lucille. It's a lovely red. And that was gifted to me by Audrey at Stitch Bead. She sent me that in a package a couple of months ago. and I've been saving it for something sampler related. So Audrey Stitch's lovely, amazing reproduction samplers, and so I thought I have to save that floss to do something kind of sampler related, and it's beautiful. One thing I would be interested to know, if anyone knows more about the history, why are the majority of samplers stitched in red? I tried to Google it and I didn't get much information, so if anyone knows, or if there's a video I can go watch to learn more about it, I would be like really appreciative and intrigued, because so many of the historical samplers are in red, and I'd be intrigued to know why red was the chosen colour. So I think we'll keep the motivation up with this one and keep on and get it finished sometime soon. So Jenny sent me a lovely box of beautiful things. I'll just share a few of them with you. So thank you, Jenny. I really appreciate your stitchy kindness. She sent me this lovely pattern by John Privé. I love John Privé. I've seen other people stitching their patterns, and I have yet to have one in my collection. So now I have one. Look at this beautiful Christmas stitch. And I looked at this, I thought, oh, it's quite overwhelming. But I saw Zoe at Coco Creates is stitching this at the moment, and she's doing it all in variations of green. And I think there's a green variation on the back like that. So I don't know if Zoe's using the called for greens, but it's absolutely beautiful. It's big, it's a big chunky pattern, but it's got some really lovely motifs in. Like you could pick out like this bauble or this snowflake, or just like a little border. So this is a lovely one for the collection. Thank you, Jenny. And I'm sure we'll make good use of it. One of the other ones she sent me was, look at these cute sheep. I love them so much. Look at these so quirky sheep. Oh my god, they are just like wacky, and I love them so much. I think they'd be really fun with like a colour conversion to make them like super bright. I love them as they are, but you could do something really wacky with them. And Jenny said that she thought that one of them would make a really good magnet, so which is very true, but I'm also tempted to just stitch the whole thing. It's absolutely lovely. And yeah, so thank you very much, Jenny. I really appreciate it. Okay, plans. So yeah, we're not going to do WIPS today because we're already it's already a long video, but I will tell you I have made huge progress on my Monet, so stay tuned for that. I'm getting all like YouTubey. You have to like and subscribe and then you'll see my Monet. But I've made huge progress on it. It's coming together really quickly, and I've also made really good progress on my Live Gently Upon This Earth, which is all shades of green, because I've been stitching on it for Steph.xstitch's birthday stitch along, which is in August. Happy birthday, Steph. And her birthstone is Peridot, which is green, so she's been inviting people to stitch on something with green in. So I've been making good progress on that. Speaking of birthdays, the lovely Jenna at Redheaded Stitcher is having a birthday stitch along. Her birthday is also in August, so happy birthday, Jenna. And she's inviting people to stitch on a Lila Studio, or Lila's Studio. Tell me which one it is. Lila's Studio Quaker. And I have this one in my collection, which was kindly gifted to me, and I love it so much. So I am unlikely to get this started immediately because I've got other things on the go. But Jenna, I will be starting one of these. It just may be a little bit late to the August party, but it is probably the next one that I will properly kit up and start, along with my foxes. I just love it. That central motif is beautiful. I'm not a huge fan of all the browns, so I think what I will do is stitch the central motif first, and then I can explore kind of what colours I pick out to kind of surround with the Quakers around the edge. And I've been playing with the idea of doing a full colour conversion. I had some of my flosses out the other day, and I was just really attracted to like the jewel tones, like the rich blues and a rich like a kind of mustard colour and a rich green. I don't know if it would be too dark, but I was playing with that idea, but I may chicken out and do the called for the central part and then do my own colours around the edge. It's quite a big pattern to get very adventurous in picking my own colours just for it to look really dark. And I think I will probably do it on a 16 count Ada, which is a bit larger than I would normally kind of think to stitch. I think 18 count Aida is probably my like sweet spot of where I like to be, and I do really like 36 count even weave and linen. But I went to Hobbycraft the other day. So Hobbycraft, if you don't know, is our UK sort of chain craft store. So it's probably an equivalent to a Michael's or a Joann's in the US. And it was my first trip. If this is the first time you watch, this might not make much sense, but I've been having a lot of health problems this year. And it was the first trip out in a car or a bus that wasn't ending at a hospital. So I've been out of my house and in a car to a place, and where I wanted to go was Hobbycraft, because of course. And they had a huge piece of 16 count Aida in a packet, but it was like almost a meter by a meter, like sort of 90 centimeters by 90 centimeters for £5. And I was like, I don't stitch on 16 count Aida, or I don't want to, but it's too much of a bargain. And I think the difference between 16 count and 18 count, it's not huge, right? So I think this Spring Quaker, I'm going to do it on a 16 count Aida. And I do prefer the look of even weave and linen for a finished piece. But I have been finding recently that when I'm not well, but I want to stitch, so I'm sort of in that in between where I'm not so unwell that I can't stitch, but I am not feeling, really on it. I do gravitate to my Aida projects. And so the joy is stitching, right? The joy is, and the beautiful finished projects are lovely. But I am quickly amassing some finished projects that are just in a lovely folder, and they're not kind of out and about and around my house. So sort of reminding myself that the joy is really in the stitching. And, I think having that long dog and realizing that whilst it looks beautiful and I love it and the finished project will be amazing, it's not convenient to stitch, it's not easy to stitch, and it's okay for me to have a project that's like that. It's like a challenge project, right? But it's also okay to have a project that is much easier to get out and easier to stitch because it's on a larger count Aida. So I think a Spring Quaker will be a new big Aida stitch for me, and hopefully that will mean that it's easy to get out, easy to stitch in the evening, easy to stitch when I don't feel very well. Okay, I have some shout outs and then I'll let you go. I've been waffling on for too long. This has turned into a really long video. I think it's because I haven't spoken to you for a while, so I've got loads of things to tell you. I have two shout outs. One is for Megan, and she's at MJ Stitches 23. And Megan is a brand new floss tuber. Please go over and show us some love. I met Megan on a stitching connection call, which is the round robin that Jason Cross Stitches is organising. And I think after that call, we all thought, Megan must have a floss tube. And then we all found out Megan doesn't have a floss tube, and she's so wonderful. She's so bubbly. She's so great. And she has such a passion for her stitching. Again, she's like me, she's very new to stitching, so I'm absolutely loving following along. And yeah, please do go and have a watch of Megan's videos. She's got, I think, a giveaway in her last video, so go quick, and there are things you can win. The other person I would like to shout out is the lovely Kathy at Kathy's Quilts and Stitching. So I try and do a shout out for someone who's doing extraordinary birds when I show my extraordinary birds. Because we're not doing WIPS today, I haven't shown you my extraordinary birds progress, but I have a long list of lovely people I want to shout out that are also stitching extraordinary birds. So Kathy is today's. Kathy is a lovely floss tuber, so please do go over and check her out. And also in her July floss tube, which I think she does once a month, also has a really lovely generous giveaway, so run over and enter. Yeah, she's got some really beautiful projects. She started a big Haid, and I like Kathy's approach. Kathy's similar to me. She says, I've got one of a 78,000 stitches project, and no more. I'm having one. So me and Kathy, we will stay like this, Kathy. We will stay strong on only having one big full coverage. So I have a big Gecko Rouge kit, which is confetti central and it's hard work. And I've said to myself that my one is 84,000 stitches. I know people do them into hundreds of thousands and 200,000. But for me, anything close to getting close to 100,000 is a big commitment. So I'm going to be staying strong with Kathy and not buying myself any more big full coverages until I have made solid progress on that one, if not actually like finished that one. Kathy is stitching Extraordinary Birds, and she's also very sensibly doing the back stitch as she goes. I have chosen not to do the back stitch as I go, and future me will probably be unhappy about that. I was talking to someone on Reddit who said, oh, you're not doing the back stitch as you go. Can you, when you finished all the stitching, can you take a picture and then do the back stitching and take another picture? People really like that on the Reddit forum for cross stitching, where if it's something with back stitching, you take one picture and then you kind of do the before and after for the back stitching, see what kind of impression it makes, what the changes are. So I've sort of gently committed myself to doing that, but I'm sure the future me will be unhappy. It's not that backstitch heavy, the Lola Crow Extraordinary Birds, so it shouldn't be too bad. She says that now. But what it is lots of different colours, and the colours are often what is similar to what you're already stitching on. So it is sensible. So do as I say, not as I do. It is probably sensible to do the back stitching as you go, because you've probably got the colour from that bird that's already being used. But I'm not, and who knows? You talk to me in a year's time and I'm going to just have back stitch on the Extraordinary Birds, and I'm going to be, past Charlie. Great, that's everything I have for you today. I feel like I'm in a bit of a silly mood, so thank you for bearing with all the laughing. I'm just feeling happy, and that's good. I saw some friends this weekend and it was just absolutely lovely, and I haven't been able to socialize too much because of my health, so having some friends come to see us has just been wonderful. So happy stitching. I hope you're all well, hope you're all doing well and enjoying your stitching, and I'll see you again soon for our just finished June and July community finish parade. Bye.